You've got a lot of different collaborators on this. I mean, when I think about some of these remote sensing groups, I know, we think Shiv Sharma, who I believe has been involved here.
Yes.
Um, uh, Mike Angel is involved, and Sandy Asher as well,
Hmm.
up at
Yep.
Pittsburgh, and these are all academics. And then others from Lawrence Livermore, if I remember correctly, and maybe some other spots.
Yeah, so, and in fact, SuperCam especially is a very international collaboration. We started that way back in the early 2000s when we started developing ChemCam, its predecessor that does just lives in imaging. The massed unit of SuperCam actually comes from France. And it has the laser in it, so it's a laser from Thales over in France. And so we have a lot of people in France and actually now also in Spain, Denmark, and Canada involved in SuperCam. So very international. Sherlock is a bit more US centric, but again, many different institutions are involved, and especially also in producing it. So there's a lot of people involved.
Yeah, so with these big projects, and them being so geographically distributed, how did you interface with these teams? In sort of the buildup, and then in particular here in the final, I'm assuming, year of pandemic before it was launched or before landing.
Yeah, well, let me try to speak to both of those different phases. So in the sort of proposal phase, it's a really exciting time because kind of the sky is the limit. You can do anything, but then, when reality sets in and it gets hard to actually build the things, that's another topic. So SuperCam and Sherlock got started in a little bit different ways. I mentioned that SuperCam is riding the coattails of ChemCam in some ways, but then adding the green laser Raman and the infrared and the microphone and the color imaging. And so we had this collaboration with Europe already. And so our first meeting was actually in a pub in London. And then with the Perseverance rover, the mandate was actually that we had to do not just chemistry but mineralogy. And then the question was, what are we going to do? And so we actually ended up adding not one but two mineralogy techniques, being both the remote Raman and the infrared.
Okay.
And we thought, oh, we're way too ambitious, but we ended up getting selected anyway. And then on Sherlock, what happened is that a group at JPL, where Sherlock is led, we had good collaborations from ChemCam there as well. And Lauren De Flores came to us and said, oh, we're thinking about dreaming up this new instrument. But we like the technology you have on ChemCam for the detectors. Would you mind going in with us on that? And so that's how we ended up building the detector, the electronics around the detectors for the spectrometer for Sherlock here at Los Alamos. And then they did kind of the same thing. They did a sort of a potpourri. Who can we find for the laser? Who can we find for the imager? And they went out to different places, photonics, and ended up getting Watson and their imaging from Malin Space Science Systems. So, and then just kind of pulling it all together there at JPL. And so it all works, and we're just so excited about the success of this mission so far.